And welcome to another mini-sode. My name's Dustin Harris. I'm the host of the Appraiser Coach Podcast. Glad that you've joined me today, folks. I want to talk a little bit about today on the topic of communication with the office. As you know, I don't spend a lot of time in the office. I'm here today. Hello, those of you on YouTube. But I don't normally spend a lot of time here at the office. In fact, I would say most weeks I spend Monday at the office, and that's pretty much it. There's a day like today. Today happens to be a Tuesday. I got done with my inspections a little bit early, and they were local, so I was able to pop into the office and get a few things done, including recording a couple of podcast episodes. This is the second recording today, and just wanted to talk a little bit about communication with the office. Here's why. On a very regular basis, I am, as I mentioned, not in the office, and I want to make sure that I communicate well with the office, that I stay in contact with what is going on in the office. Okay, I am the boss. I am the chief appraiser. I am the owner of the company. I'm the president of the incorporation. The corporation. I feel like I need to be very, very involved in what's going on at the appraisal office. So I want to talk today about communication, but I want to pause here and first talk to you about ANow software and just let you know that we are sponsored by ANow. ANow is the ability for me to not communicate with the office, but keep in contact with what's going on at the office, to manage the office. Check them out right now at anow.com. That's ANOW.com for more information. All right. Talking about communication today, folks. Even though I am not in the office on a regular basis, I am constantly communicating with my office. In fact, just about an hour ago, my assistant, my office manager, left for the day, and she said to me, well, talk to you tomorrow. Now, the reason she didn't say see you tomorrow like normal people would do is there's a pretty good chance she won't see me tomorrow. I would say there's a higher than normal chance that she won't see me tomorrow. I will not be into the office more than twice in a week. Okay, even if I had the time, I'm not going to do that. Okay, I like to be out and about. I will actually find a coffee shop or a quiet place, maybe a restaurant to have lunch and catch up on email rather than coming back to the office. It's just my way of doing things. Now, that being said, it's very, very important that I'm communicating with the office on a regular basis. Why? Again, I'm their boss. Again, I'm the president of the company. Again, this is my baby. I've built up this business for the last 22 years, and I'm not going to let it fall through the cracks because I am not involved. So I stay very closely tied to the office every single day throughout the day. I want to know what's going on. I have given very strict instructions at my office that if there is an angry customer, an angry client, a flub up of some magnitude, even if it's completely our fault, especially if it's completely our fault, I want to know about it. And my company knows, my assistants know that they don't hide those things from me. If they screwed up on something, they immediately tell me. I got an email just earlier today from one of my assistants. She's new. She said, I just wanted to let you know what happened here. And she explained something that it was a minor thing, but she explained to me what happened in an email, so I know what's going on. I don't want to be surprised down the road when I hear from somebody else that says, hey, by the way, when such and such happened, and I go, what? I want to know what's going on. I want, as a business owner, to be able to feel completely connected, and that can be hard. I get a lot of appraisers that come to me and say, Dustin, can I actually run a virtual office? Is it possible for me to work from home and have employees that also work from home, or work from a brick and mortar office that I don't belong to? Folks, yes, you can, and you should. The technology today is absolutely incredible. I'm going to talk about technology after the break, okay? But I want you to know that it is not just probable, but possible to do great things from home and be very connected to the appraisal office. There are times that I do feel disconnected, but usually those times don't have to do with me on my normal regular schedule. My regular schedule I talked about in a previous episode about how I'm out and about doing inspections and checking in with the office throughout or in between those inspections. Okay. I feel pretty connected to the office. I feel pretty connected with my employees when I do that. By the way, Go back to a previous episode just a few weeks ago. I talked about the importance of having regular interviews with your employees. Okay, that's part of this. That's building that relationship, and that's part of understanding what's going on in the appraisal office. Okay? But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about building relationships and loyalty with your crew. I'm talking about making sure that you know what's going on in the office, that you are on a regular basis touching base. Now, folks, this is not something I need to be reminded to do. This is something that I truly care about. And so it's, if anything, I'm more intrusive than I need to be. Okay? But I love the fact that my employees play along. They understand. And by the way, I've been told by them before, hey, Dustin, you don't need to check in as much as you do. We've got this covered. It's all good. Okay? But they understand that I do need to check in on a regular basis. That's something that I need. I am a micromanager. I try not to be. But at least on one level, I want to know what's going on in the office. I want to know if there's an angry phone call. I want to know if there's trouble scheduling something. I want to know if they, struggle on a bid, for example. Hey, I know normally we charge $500 in this area, but we've got waterfront, we've got a high-end ranch, we've got a $6 million property. I want to know what's going on a regular basis. That doesn't mean that they always have to check in with me, but I find myself checking in with them on a regular basis, and we have procedures in place in my office that communication is a big deal. Okay, you've heard this before with your relationships. Okay, why is it that relationships go awry? Communication. Why is it that spouses divorce? Communication. Why is it that people get fired or quit? Communication. Why is it that businesses go down the tubes? Communication. Folks, communication is a huge deal to me. It's a huge deal to my office, and I'm hoping it's a huge deal to you. Okay, so what does this look like? How do I communicate with my office? What technology do I use to communicate with my office? I can't wait to tell you, but I first want to pause and tell you about ANow software. ANow allows me to be a business owner, folks, and here's the cool thing. We're talking today about communicating with the office, and we're talking about governing the office long distance. ANow software allows me to manage my appraisal office, whether I be at home, in the office, in the field, or in Belize. Okay? Anywhere that I have a internet connection, I can see at a snapshot what's going on with my business. That's what ANow does. Folks, ANow does not just keep track of your appraisal orders. ANow keeps track of the status of those orders. ANow keeps track of the analytics of your whole office. Who's paid their bills, who has not, what's outstanding, how does this month compare to last month, how much are we doing on the non-lender side compared to the lender side? Folks, you can do all of that with ANow software. If you've not tried out their free demo, I encourage you to do so. Check out anow.com. That's anow.com/coach. anow.com/coach. All right, folks, we are back. We're talking about communication today. Spent the first half of this mini-sode talking about why. Why do we communicate with the office? Why is it so important that we stay in contact? I know it can be hard. There are some appraisers who are quite introverted, and they don't really want to talk to people. As a business owner, folks, I think it is essential that we do so, that we're staying involved in our employees' lives, that we're staying on top of what's going on with the appraisal office. Okay, I want to share with you in the second half of the mini-sode today about how we do that at my office. Couple different things to think about. I think I will do an episode in the future about security and about keeping track of your employees. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but let me just say that I do have a camera in my office, a security camera in my office that has audio, and I can on a very regular basis check in from the road. Yes, from the road. I don't have to have a high-speed Wi-Fi connection. I can use my regular data plan to check in and to see what's going on in the office through that camera and to hear what's going on at the office. I also record everything that happens, and so I can go back to a certain time period and listen and watch what has happened in the office. I think that's super important. Email. Email is obviously controlled by me, but my employees have access to it. Part of working on my business and not in my business on Mondays is reviewing email. So I randomly take a few emails and I read through them, both the sender and the receiver, and I see both sides of the conversation, and those are the types of notes that I make for my staff meeting. And I might say, hey, Jessica, I reviewed an email last Thursday between you and so. Do you remember that email? Oh, yeah, I remember that. You probably already know what I'm going to say, and she usually does and says, yeah, I was a little bit curt. I didn't, quite handle that the way that I should have probably. And so we have this conversation. I am reviewing emails on a regular basis. That's part of the quality control, but again, part of the communication with the office. We have a VoIP system, a voice over IP system as far as our phone calls go. I got to keep remember to look into the coach cam. I apologize. I keep looking at I'm so used to looking and talking right into the mic that you're seeing the side of my head, which is probably the better side, by the way. But those of you who are watching this on YouTube, I'm going to try to look into the coach cam and try to make this a little bit more personal. So I apologize. Anyway, we have a voice over IP system, which allows us to be able to do a lot of different things with our phone calls. One of the things that I do, and I pay a little bit extra per month to do this, but it's so worth it to me for two reasons. Is I record all phone calls in and out. By the way, in the state of Idaho, you do not have to warn the other party. As long as one side knows it's being recorded, everything is fine. And so that's what we do. We record every phone call going in and out of the office. That allows me, number one, to be able to put into the work file anything that I find to be worthy of the work file. You know what I'm talking about. When you have those conversations with borrowers and you're kind of like, this might not go well down the road. So we always put those recordings in the work file so that there's no question as to what happened during that phone call. Somebody calls, they want to talk about value, and you explain to them that you can't talk about value, and then you worry about, them saying that, well, they did talk to us about value. Those are the phone calls that we keep in the work file just in case. Okay. But the other reason that I have everything recorded, again, is communication. It's quality control. It's for me on Mondays when I work on my business, not in my business, to pull up randomly several phone calls from different employees, whether in or out, whether incoming or outgoing, and be able to criticize, if you will, constructively criticize those phone calls. A lot of times I'll say, hey, Belinda, I pulled up 3 phone calls last week, and guess what? You were primo on every one of them, and here's what I liked about them. And I might say, you know what? I pulled up 3 phone calls last week, Belinda, and 2 of them were awesome. One of them could have been a little bit better. Here's why. And sometimes I'll actually pull up that phone call, and the nice thing about the voice system is I can actually download the phone call and I can play it for my employees. And I can say, hey, I want you to listen to this, and you tell me what I'm thinking. You tell me why I'm playing this recording, and a lot of times they can point it out. Okay, so that's another way that we communicate. We do communicate by phone. Okay, sometimes we'll just pick up the phone and we'll talk. Usually that to me is a conversation that I know is going to be more than 5 minutes. So if it's a conversation that's go more than 5 minutes, I'm going to just pick up the phone. I'm going to call my employee. I'm going to say, hey, let's talk through this. Okay, I'm in between appointments. I got about a 15-minute drive here. Let's talk through what's going on with this appraisal. Let's talk through the comps. Let's talk through the unusual external obsolescence issue. And we have that conversation over the phone. I also, like everybody else in the world, am using text. We text back and forth between the office. Every one of my employees has a smartphone, and we're able to text back and forth and let each other know what's going on. For example, Thursday, I was supposed to call somebody 30 minutes before I got there. Okay, they didn't want to wait around during the window that we usually set up, and I was supposed to call them 30 minutes before. I don't have any problem, and I normally just do that myself because I know my schedule. It's harder for me to tell them to call somebody than it is for me to just call them while I'm driving. I happen to be in a situation that was very spotty service, very, very low cell signal, but I had enough that I could text. And so I simply texted the office and I said, hey, would you call so-and-so, let them know I'll be there in about 30 minutes. I got a text right back, said sure. Again, communication, talking to the office, talking through things that are going on so that everybody knows what's going on. Phones, texting, email. I use email back and forth to quality control check my reports. If there's, I got an email today from one of my employees who said, hey, I got a call from somebody on the coach line. They wanted you to review one of their products, blah, 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 blah. I know you don't normally do that stuff. So I just told him, that you could certainly send it, but there was no guarantees. I just wanted to let you know. In other words, she's keeping me in the loop. I appreciate that. That's what communication at the office is all about. Finally, I want to talk to you about a great little app. I don't get any kickbacks for this. This is not something I'm trying to sell you. I'm telling you just because I love you. I'm telling you about a great app, and this is for Android or iPhone. And by the way, it will work between devices. So my employees, I think 2 of my employees have Androids, and 1 of my employees has iPhone. I have an iPhone, but we have this little app that's called Voxer. Now, we used to use an app called Heytel. So it's Heytell. Heytel had so many bugs that we moved to another program that's very similar, but to us is more stable. Maybe Heytel has improved, and maybe it's a better product now. But Voxer, that's V as in violin, Voxer, is the app that we use. Okay, let me just show you here. Okay, so this is I'm showing the YouTube. So this is the app. It's called Voxer. I just open it up, and I'm just going to go with one of my contractors. Okay, this is not an employee of mine. This is one of my contractors. He's my marketing guy. If you've ever been to a booth at either the expo or the summit the last little while, you've met Nate. Big, tall guy, tattoos everywhere, crazy haircut, but the nicest feller you're ever going to meet. His name is Nate, and I communicate with him on a regular basis. In fact, I'm looking back through today, and just today, holy smokes, yeah, just today I have sent or received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 messages between Nate and I today. Now, this is happening on the go. This is happening while I'm in an inspection. He might send me something. I don't listen to these when I'm in an inspection typically, unless it's a vacant house. But he might send me a text. The nice thing about Voxer is you can text and this is what I didn't explain earlier. The reason we use Voxer is it is an audio texting service, very much like the old walkie-talkies you used when you were a kid. Okay, you can hit a button, you can send an audio message. It can be as long as you want it to be. And then you hit the button again and it stops recording and it automatically uploads that to that individual. It's a direct, by the way, you can do both group Voxes or single Voxes, and this allows you to communicate. So the reason I'm bringing all this up today is I talk on a regular basis about how I am communicating with the office, but I don't really go into details to how I do that. I'm trying to offer you an option out there. Again, I don't get any kickback from this. Maybe Voxer will hate me because they'll have too much traffic now because all of the wonderful people that listen out here and they're going to listen to me and pick up Voxer. But folks, I'm telling you, if you want to communicate with your spouse, you want to communicate with your kids, and especially if you want to communicate with the office, Voxer is the way to do it. I use Voxer when texting, when what I have to say is too big for text, but too short for phone calls. Does that make sense? It's an audio message. I don't like to text when it's more than just a couple lines. It's a pain. I'm not like my son who can just whip these things out, and he can probably type faster on his phone than he can on the computer. I'm not like that. I hate texting. For the most part, I use voice to text on a regular basis, and I'm okay with that. But then you've got all of the problems, of trying to translate. I don't like phone calls because I don't like the niceties. I don't like the appraisal precision. This is Jessica. How may I help you? And I've got to wait for all of that and say, hey, Jessica, it's Dustin. Oh, hey, how are you today? I'm fine. I don't want to go through, hey, how's the weather? I want to be able to just send a quick message back and forth between my office, okay? And so that's what I do. This is I held that up to the to the YouTube, and I want to make sure there wasn't anything that yeah, okay, so I'm all right. So as you can see, there's text on there, and there's audio that I have sent back and forth between me and Nate. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. I'm just going to, for kicks and giggles, I'm going to show you how this works. Okay, you can see here the screen if you're looking on YouTube. And for those of you who are on audio, it has my text back and forth to him, but it also has, the play button and a line. So this is a 15-second Vox. This is a 42-second Vox. It tells you if they've played it, so you know if it's been delivered, if they played it, that kind of thing. So that's beneficial. So I'm just going to send a Vox to Nate and just show you how this works and why it's so important, why it's such an important tool in my office. So here we go. Hey, Nate, I'm doing a podcast today on communication between the office. And by the way, whatever you send back will be live on an episode. So, watch your language, my friend. But I just wanted to tell everybody how this works, so I can send you, a short audio message and that you receive that right away. And then if you wouldn't mind just doing a quick shout out back, and I'll have that on the episode as well, just so you can kind of show the audience how this works. So we're just going to wait and see if it looks like it's played. So he played it, and let's just see if he'll get back to us here.
Now you're coming in loud and clear. I'm just editing some of the other podcast episodes, so I will have those over to you soon. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So there you go. Little communication back and forth between Nate and I. He does some editing on the video side of things, and so that's what he was talking about there. We can talk about anything. He reaches out to me on a pretty regular basis and says, whatever. Hey, what do you think of this? We've got that expo thing coming up in Vegas here in a little bit. What do you think we ought to do there? Those are the types of communication that we have back and forth on a pretty regular basis. So, again, importance of communication. Make sure that you communicate on a regular basis, that you're constantly in contact with your office. And Voxer is a great way to do that. Folks, please, 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 if you do nothing else today, I want you to ask yourself where you're at with your business and where you want to be. The All-Star team is a part and can be a part of allowing you to reach that next level of success. Please check it out right now for $9.95 per month or $95 per year. It's the All-Star team on my website, theappraisercoach.com/coach.